Oh, don't make me go out there, sir. I told Philomena I'd make it home by 6 tonight, alive.
It shames me to admit this as a vaunted member of the elite brotherhood known as professional video game reviewers, but I've never actually played a Leisure Suit Larry game before. When they were popular, my parents wouldn't let me buy them, and when I was old enough to get one for myself, I was also old enough to know I should just buy a Playboy and be done with it. Actually, Maxim probably fits the content level better. Anyways, this is just to let fans of the original naughty adventure game know I have no basis for comparison. So if you're upset that Telltale's new release Hector never involves a Cold War-era microfilm and a face-off against both the mad scientist Dr. No-Nookie and the KG... I'm sorry, did people once masturbate to this? I mean, I'm guessing it was more difficult to procure pornography and ass in the late 80s, so I'm certainly not judging anybody, but was that a thing people did? As a kid, I believed an adult video game could only mean one thing: animated boobies. Growing up, I learned that what adult usually means in gaming is an attempt at a mature viewpoint, and, to a lesser extent, animated boobies. However, it's so incredibly rare to play a game with grown-up sensibilities, where dick-based swear words aren't the whole dick-killing dick joke. Dick, Bulletstorm, that it's refreshing to play a game like Hector, Badge of Carnage. This isn't to say that there aren't plenty of dick jokes, but they're correctly used as part of a broader palette of adult humor. Hector, Badge of Carnage was originally a popular iPhone adventure game by the Northern Ireland company Strandlooper, and that pretty much informs you about the entire game. The interface is so simplistic it's literally only point and click to look at something, and point and double click to use something. There's also a leftover direction in the instructions that tells you to drag the pointer to look around your environment, something that, because of a larger screen, does not work at any point in the game. The visuals are clearly Flash-based, which would be acceptable if Adult Swim, and to a much larger extent Adobe, hadn't killed off my respect for the format. There's nothing really interesting about any of the locations. They fit the art style and character of the game and appear to be covered in the dark brown version of the next-gen filter as opposed to the dark gray. The easiest way to explain to you the general vibe of the game's visual aesthetics is to point out the turd that follows you throughout the game.
I swear that turd is following me round. I've seen it 3 times now.
The sound is surprisingly well done for an iPhone game. Once you move out of that handheld realm, the music and recording qualities seem a bit low. What is very impressive is the fact that all the voices in the game are done by one man. Each of these characters has a distinct voice and accent, but none of them can be said to have emotional range. When a character is angry, shocked, or frustrated, they become louder. When they're aroused, their speech begins to halt. I did want to reference a third emotional voice set here to make a better joke, but none of the characters ever had one.
I don't think I need this brick. Why would I need a brick?
Speaking of jokes, the game is chock full of them. The plot revolves around a terrorist hostage-taker that has been sniping police all morning, and Hector, being the resident Gene Hunt stand-in at the city's precinct, is called in by the chief to save the day.
Right, we have 57 minutes to respond to a 24-carat tip-off, which I'm 100% confident about.
And which I say is too much of a risk.
You know, if I was as worried as you, I'd never fart for fear of shitting myself.
You begin the game in a holding cell used by Hector as his personal abode, and it is here that the game serves up the best laughs. I lost count of the number of times I chuckled in the opening area, but once you get into the game proper, things begin to fall apart. You get used to the style of humor in the game awfully quick. It boils down to fat jokes, sex jokes, and violence jokes, and none of them are exceedingly creative or thoughtful. I don't want to spoil any of these jokes because they can be pretty enjoyable, so I'll just use a quote from the iTunes entry for the game to give you an idea. Stagger a drunken mile through the crime capital of Britain in the size 9s of Detective Inspector Hector. Part criminalist, part kebab fiend, all cop. So let's take a look at this joke, because it's a pretty good summary of the entire game's humor. It starts off pretty strong. Here's a slightly clever twist on a well-known expression. Then you start to wonder, why are they telling me about his shoe size? This doesn't make me laugh or inform anything remotely hilarious or important about the character. Is it really better than just saying shoes? Then they go on about him being a criminalist, which is funny if only because people from the United Kingdom love adding the suffix "ist" to everything, like racialists. Part kebab fiend? Is that another fat joke, or are they making a joke along the lines of what would be, "This guy loves tacos" for American players? I hate to be the guy who teaches somebody how to be funny. I think we should explore our own sense of humor and rejoice in it. And I definitely liked Hector's, but I just expect more from my UK comedy.
These are goth girls, yeah? They don't like jokes. They don't even smile, yeah? Do some dark stuff. Freak them out a bit.
Went to a graveyard today.
Yeah?
Yeah. Got naked. Did a shit on a tombstone?
Difficulty-wise, the game is on par with most other Telltale games, about 2 to 3 hours worth of playtime. You can speed things up by using the in-game help system, which includes a full walkthrough if you're extremely frustrated. That might happen, as you'll probably get stuck a few times. The game does sometimes use that classic/ridiculous adventure game style of puzzles with weird combinations of items and solutions. Replay value depends on your tolerance for hearing the same jokes over and over again, as there aren't any sort of secrets or extras for you to find. Pretty standard for today's adventure game. The ultimate black mark on the game is on the technical or possibly publisher level. There isn't a way to save the game at any point. It's all automatic. I don't think it's possible to die, but it would really help some people out to be able to save whenever they want it. You know, like a game critic who likes to frequently back up so he can pick and choose what to put in his video reviews, instead of having to play the whole game over. Or someone who encounters a game-breaking glitch like the one involving the video cassette and the porn shop, forcing them to play the whole game over. This kind of thing really shouldn't happen for a game that was initially released June of last year. I'm looking at you, Telltale. I'm also wary of the fact that you made the game $10. If that's the price for each of these episodes, you're asking people to pay more for this game than for Back to the Future, which contains almost twice as many chapters, although less than half as funny. It comes with the free game, Puzzle Agent, but if you've already got it or don't want it, too bad. Hector, Badge of Carnage, Episode 1, We Negotiate with Terrorists, gets a 3 out of 5.
Nob! Nob! We love Nob!
Oh, Nob's great. Oh, Nob's wonderful.